First win for them in a while, and now one of two teams, though, for this team, despite the win, that is eliminated from playoff contention, New England is. And it appears that writing on the wall that we've been feeling for a while as it pertains to Bill Belichick and his future is becoming a little bit more firm. According to a report from Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston, Robert Kraft made the decision at the end of that Week 10 game against the Colts in Germany that they will part ways with Bill Belichick after this season. The quote that's kind of coming around here is, when they came out of Germany, conversations, meaning Tom, had that week made it very clear the decision was made and they were going to play out the string and at the end of the year would be parting ways for a variety of reasons. And I wasn't told this specifically, but the main one being you don't fire Bill Belichick during the season. It's just not going to happen. And so, Michael, these rumors have been swirling around for a long time. Your boy Bill is always in the news, but what did you make of the report?
Well, I found it interesting that if it happened after Germany and they had the bye week in week 11, why didn't it come out that week? Why now? Look, I think there's no question, and I think Tom does a great job of being an insider in the New England Patriot organization, which is tough to get information out of, as we know. But, so his sources, I'm assuming, are very credible, and I'm not disputing what he said. However, I think at the end of the year, we all know there's going to be a meeting. Whether it's going to be January the 8th, January the 9th, or January the 10th, they're going to sit down. He and Robert Kraft are going to sit down and go over where they think the problems are, where they think the problems were, and where they think the problems could be moving into the future. So I think a lot will depend on that meeting. I couldn't imagine that after the ball is given back to the officials against the Jets on January the 7th. A half hour later, we hear Belichick's gone. But to me, I think the two of them have had so much success that it's going to take a meeting to sit down to say, okay, do we want to continue this? Do we not want to continue this? And how do we make this divorce, if we do have a divorce, seem as easy as we can make it? Because for all the success we've had, it's important that we still you're still part of the fabric of this franchise. Those 6 Super Bowls are going to be attached to you. They're going to build a statue in front of the stadium for you. It's never going to go away. So how this ends is going to be very important.
Yeah, won 6 Super Bowls, went to 9. Obviously, 3 decades of friendships, of relationships, of highs and lows. So there's a lot there. But like you said, with the divorce, sometimes they can be amicable. And sometimes a separation and a parting of ways can be the healthiest thing for both parties. And in this case with the Patriots, obviously the last few years, it's been kind of a steady tick down. And New England 3-10 right now, worst win percentage in Belichick's 29-season career as a head coach. Patriots are second worst record in the NFL right now. They're eliminated from playoff contention. They're on pace to finish last in scoring offense. And all that to say, their defense is still really, really good. So I don't think that there's a question that Bill Belichick lost his ability to coach. He's still a very good coach. I think the personnel and draft and a lot of those GM role type things have probably been a deterrence in recent success for them. So the assumption is that if not in New England, he's still going to go and be a coach and still going to be chasing Shula's record, correct?
I don't get the sense that he's tired. I don't get the sense that he doesn't want to keep coaching. It's part of who he is, and we know that the success as you get older in life, sometimes you tend to wear down, but I don't get that. I think he has the urge, and I don't think it has anything to do with Shula. I just think it has everything to do with, I love the work. The one thing about Bill that has always resonated with me is in the moments when it seems so bad or when it seems so good, his focus never changed. It was always about the work. It was always that he was in love with the work. It wasn't the Super Bowls, the playoffs. That's the reward. The work is what he loved. And I don't think at this point in his life you can take away the work. He's not going to let the take it because he still loves the work. When he doesn't love the work anymore, then I think he'll walk away. But he loves the work. So if they have a divorce, if this is what happens, then I think he'll be available for whatever teams that may have an opening as it comes through this season to at least explore and go down that avenue.
Yeah, and what those teams that have an opening might have in place when it comes to ownership, quarterback, defense, salary cap. There's obviously a lot of things that go into that, but where could be a fit for Bill, certainly. And then you talk about the work. He's only focused on that this week because when reporters were following up in the press conference earlier today, his responses about all of the questions about his future were just focused on Kansas City this week. So let's talk about Kansas City this week, Michael, because we are a betting network and there are numbers that are applied to these things. The Patriots are a 9.5-point underdog this week at home in Foxborough against the Chiefs, total 37. Second time Bill Belichick in his era as the Patriots head coach that they have been a home dog of 9 points or more. Now, I'm not going to say that this is what's going to happen again this weekend, people, but the first time they were an 11-point dog against the Colts in 2001, and New England won that game 44-13.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is obviously, we know the Chiefs are struggling offensively. We know that the Patriots have struggled mightily offensively, and we know the Chiefs' strength is their defense. And this is a little bit like when the Chiefs came to Las Vegas and played the Raiders. You knew the Chiefs were going to score points against a Raider defense. So you knew that that line was in jeopardy of they were going to cover. They could cover the line. Even when the Raiders went ahead 14-0, they outscored them 31-3. So, this is a little bit of a mismatch in terms of one offense can score, the other one can't. I think both defenses will be good. I think when you go back and watch the Buffalo tape, which I did yesterday again, this Chief offense there's no explosiveness to it. Kelsey's not the same player. A lot of his stuff comes off of loose plays. Teams are no longer feeling they've got to double Kelsey. Like, nobody's doubling. There are a lot of two-man under, and, look, we can cover him and we'll tackle him and see if he can make the plays that he made in the past. So there's not a lot of, oh, my God, look at it. And then defensively, you've got to block Chris Jones, who's offsides on every single play. I mean, what makes last Sunday's game so hilarious is the fact that Chris Jones lines up offsides on almost every single play, and I've been saying it for 3 years. And their right tackle, Taylor, is in the backfield on every single play. Like, you could easily call 10 illegal formations against the Chiefs all game against Buffalo. Easily. I bet you the league office has a stack of video in there from the opponents of the Chiefs getting ready to play that are of saying, is this legal? Taylor this far in the backfield? Is this legal? Chris Jones offside? So I thought it was kind of funny. But the matchup doesn't favor New England at all. Even in a low-scoring affair, Kansas City's the better team.
At the 9.5, though, so I keep on thinking if this thing ticks to 10, I'm going to dive in on New England in that spot just because of the defensive success, to your point, and how good they've been in that area. I also love, just because you're talking about the Chris Jones of it all, Michael tweeted about this, and he's got a picture up there on Twitter. If you're not following Michael Lombardi on Twitter, what are you doing? At @MLombardiNFL, you have to. The train of thought and awesome stuff that he puts out there is second to none. And I'm fortunate I get to talk to you every day here, but the Twitter stuff when we're off the air is great. But with this game, I think if it gets to double digits, how attractive is New England at that number?
Yeah, well, I think they are. And I think, to me, these high-number games, I always try to work backwards, right? Like, how many points do you think Kansas City will score? I think they'll score 17, right? And so for you to cover this number, you got to think that the Patriots can score 17. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can. Now, look, they couldn't score against the Chargers, bad weather game. We got that. I mean, last week against the Steelers, they threw for 222 yards. That's the most teams have thrown the ball against the Steelers in the last 4 weeks. I mean, it wasn't just an anomaly. Now, I know Watt got hurt and Highsmith and all that, but they actually threw the ball. They made a couple plays. Juju Smith made a play down the field for 37 yards. They made a couple throws, and they scored 21 points. So, look, a lot of this is going to come down, can they block Chris Jones? And if they can handle Chris Jones and run the football and slow the game down and keep the game in the low 20s, they'll cover this number.